recording. Is this you don't believe me or something? That's fine. I mean, I could
Dude,
really care less.
I'm sorry,
like,
but I have to record this.
if you think like I'm like fucking around, just talking out of my ass, like that's cool. But like, it's just a fact. It's not something I make up and like waste my time talking about. I have better things to do
That's
with
why
my
I
fucking
can't
time.
wait for you and your buddy to get one more guy
Did you ever
and
hear
get
of
50
Death?
and gear out. And
Do
then
you
I
know
want to.
Death?
I
Did you ever hear
can't
the
wait
skull
for
of
you to do
Death?
that.
He's still up there. If you played back in the day, you know Death. He was a skull.
Yeah, I don't know.
There's more
But
than
that's what
one
I'm saying. I
server.
just can't wait for
Played
you
with
guys to get
VOA.
back going, because then once you guys
We
get
used to
back
play.
going
We
and I
we
see you
were
guys
with
take out a
VOA.
Zerg, I'm gonna love it.
VOA dog.
I want to stand on the hill and I want to record it happening.
Dude, that's what was so. That was the funniest part. Is we wish we could have and put it up on YouTube or something, because it was like just seeing the chat and how pissed people would get that these three little fucking midgets would run up and fucking just mez the whole fucking Zerg. Like you'd have like 20, 30 people just standing there mez for 30 seconds while the other people were trying around demez, like everybody just freaking out and shit, you know? And they're just dying one by one. I mean, there's so many fucking pets going around. That's why, like, when we had our crafters, like we had some fucking epic fucking times with that shit. But like I said, this was years ago.
Well, you won't. I promise you, you will not do that on Uthgard. I promise you.
No, that's why we did it. It wasn't about going to level 50. It was about going to Thid and doing like the lower level battlegrounds, like, and fucking people up. It wasn't about like, hey, let's get to level 50 and then run this trio. It was like, no, we're gonna go to Thid, fuck people up for fun. Like that was, it was almost more fun doing that than like, you know, going all the way to 50 and then trying to like be big bossing over on like everybody else. Fuck that shit. It was more fun to run on Fit and just fucking make people's day, fucking just ruin people's day. Straight up.
Yeah, Thid, and that's a little more believable on my part.
That's what I'm saying. It was Thid. It wasn't anything crazy. So, I mean, everybody's level, like, what was it, 22, was it, back in the day?
20 to 24, I think.
20, 24, yeah. So, I mean, we would roll up, and then we would go to the next one. I forget what it was after that. But we would never go to Molvik. I had never played the game before. My two homies were like, yo, we're going to run a trio, but we need a cleric because, you know, and I had never fucking played this game. I didn't know how to fucking run a cleric. And then, you know, I ended up fucking learning how to play. And then just to watch and see all these people get mezzed, it was like the funniest, most exhilarating time that I ever had on this game. Like ever. And it sucks that more people, like, I don't have any way of like showing you, because yeah, like how awesome would it be to sit on a hill, see these three little black, like these black cloaked out, you would just see one Sork pop out, and then a third just would run out, and all these pets are just coming out of the woodwork, individually targeted. That was the greatest thing about Davis. He could target like a champion. Like he knew exactly who to target, and he could do it quick. And man, just to stand back and watch it from like my point of view, it was hilarious. Like, I mean, Dave used to have on mid, he had Cream Pie. I don't know if you remember that name, Cream Pie. Do you remember VOA, the guild VOA?
It depends what server you're talking about.
Well, it would have been on mid VOA.
Well, because there's like, back in the day, there was like 15 servers.
It would have been shit. What was the name of the server? Can you like remember?
Guinevere?
And I'm sorry.
Guinevere?
No, it wasn't Guinevere. It was Man, I'd have to see a list. Is there a site that had the list?
Probably. I would
I
just
could
type in
tell you.
Google Dark Age Camelot servers before the clusters. But I only played if it's not Merlin, Lancelot, or Gareth or Lamorak. I wouldn't
Garrett.
know.
It was Lamorak or Garrett, but I think it was no, it was Lamorak.
Yeah, I played Alb Lamorak.
Yeah. So we played you. Yeah. So you. That's what
And
I'm
the
trying to
best and the
think.
best mid guild was a guild called RVR.
Yeah, RVR and VOA were the two biggest rivals because VOA. Oh my God. So wait a second. Hib would be a skull, right?
No,
Yeah.
that's mid.
Okay, so mid, yeah, because death was up on the boards, man. Like people like bowed down to death. Like I don't know if you remember death. He was this big black fucking skull that if you ever ran into, like you didn't want to fuck with. And I don't even remember there was like something. I guess it was Camilla Herald where you could see like the stats of like players and where they ranked. Like death is still up there, and then somebody, I guess, I don't know what happened within that 10, 15 years or whatever, but somebody went on there. But somebody, one of Doug's friends, still has that account somewhere. But yeah, it was Thid. It wasn't anything crazy. Thid and Molvik, and that was as far as we would go because I just got tired of leveling. It was like I had never played this game. It was the first MMO I had ever played, and plus they wanted me to play this fucking cleric. I thought MMOs were gay as fuck, and then we started doing that shit, and I was like, damn, what the fuck? To the point
Yeah.
where you would have people from other realms logging into Owl being like, fuck you, man. Like, we fucking hate the fucking trio running around fucking everything up. Like, we would just roll up on, like, 8-man, like, serious fights and just murk them all. Just, peace. See ya. Like, to the point where both, like, the hib and the mid would be going at it, and then all of a sudden, they would become allies and just start chasing us. They wouldn't even worry about fighting themselves anymore. That was the best part about it.
So like the other two realms just like hated you guys, huh?
Well, yeah, I mean, we would roll up and fucking ruin their day over and over and over again to the point where it was actually fucking like pissing everybody off to the
Almost
point
embarrassing
where
for them, huh?
I
User left your channel.
as serious as people take this game, yeah, the three little motherfuckers just rolled up and just fucking shat on your crew, and you couldn't catch them because we just fucking pre-kite the shit out of everybody, and then as soon as like they would get a little bit closer, up they'd be mezzed again, more pets on their ass, and then we would kite more. Like it was funny. The only time that we would get fucked is if we got ass jammed by like another group, because there would be multiple groups out roaming looking for us. You know what I mean? So the only time we would really die is if like we were kiting and then we got fucking ass jammed by like the other like teams working in tandem with each other, like trying to find us, like in Ventrilo, like yeah, find the fucking little fucking kobolds. I mean, we did it on both servers, but then we went over to Al because it was more powerful with the Thurgis. So
Yeah, that
when
sounds pretty wild, bro. You said that was in Thid?
yeah, and Molvik. I mean, you can just you know how it is, like how intense the fights are, and then to all of a sudden get mezzed out of nowhere, and then you're like, where the fuck did that come from? Everybody panning around looking, you see this little fucking Sork all dressed in black just fucking start running, and then you just see this third just pumping out pets, and then we would just start kiting. What could they do? 30 seconds. They already like health is already at 50%. So then they decide to start chasing us, and here we are running around in the trees and stuff. By the time the fight actually started, they couldn't, and they would be actually like hitting on the Sork and the third. They they were like, damn it, they're now this motherfucker's getting heals. Where the fuck are the heals? So then they were like all on me, and then I'd have to fucking start booking it, But then they get mezzed again. Like it was like unstoppable. It's fucking awesome. Most fun I've ever had, like in an MMO ever.
I can imagine it's pretty intense because I know how intense it gets on like 8-man fights. I can't imagine like 3 against 40 though. You know what I mean? That's got to get really intense.
Yeah, and like, and I ain't even bullshitting you guys. Like, this is just like fucking how it went down, man. Like, I never played fucking WoW. I played Warhammer just because my buddy Doug wanted me to try it. I played it for like the trial period and was like, nah, fuck that, because nothing was as fun as that to me. Like that.
Dude, you missed out on Warhammer, bro.
Fun.
We used to do 12 on 120. That dwarfs your 3 on fucking 40, man.
I know, right? Like, I mean, it could have been more. Like, there were times where we would see there would be a lot of people, and this was when, before WoW was even like out, everybody was still on DAOC, and so there, I'm just rough estimate on how many people were in that Zerg, but that AoE mez has no limit on how many people can get fucking mezzed by it. You know what I mean? So
it's got a range limit though.
Right. So once we're in the range, like anybody in that range.
User joined your channel.
But think about it. When you're in like a Zerg fight, everybody's kind of clustered all together, except for the ones that are the casters. So everybody in the middle, all like the tanks and shit are all mezzed, and then the pets would go out to all the casters, so they couldn't even cast because they're getting interrupted. And then by the time everybody got demezzed, like the casters were pretty much already dead. They couldn't heal, and we were kiting the fuck away.
Well, I just don't understand that. I mean, were you guys fighting like 9-year-old Afghani kids? Because I mean, I don't know why 60 people would be all clustered together.
Dude, because we would wait till they just like smashed into each other. I mean, what don't you understand about like when there's like 3 different. I mean, I don't even know how to explain it, man. Like you kind of have to see it to like understand what I'm talking about. If you don't get it.
Yeah, I just must not get it. But it sounds wild, because I think what my best on Uthgard is maybe like 8 against 18, 19, maybe 20 people, and we came out with a win. But I mean, you smashed us out of the water with that though.
Yeah, and that's what was fucked up at the time, is like, because computers back in the day, like, you couldn't really be fraps, and like with the computers I got now, I could fraps no problem, upload that shit to YouTube, and like it'd be there forever, and that was kind of the whole plan with this. But that was also back in the day when like you could actually be on the run and be, buff and res and shit. Can't do that here.
So what realm rank did you guys make it up to?
What's that?
What realm rank did you guys make it up to?
Well, I bailed out because I wasn't really into it. I only did the trio with them, but they were realm. I mean, they dinged at 10.
Now they hit realm rank 10. That's impressive.
Yeah, like I said, Death is like, he was like my buddy Doug. Okay, his entire family owns oil. Okay, so this kid never worked a fucking day in his life. All he would do is sit at home, but he went out and his mom would buy him like $10,000 worth of computer shit and have this guy build him a custom computer. He would sit at home all day and just fucking play DAOC. He'd been doing it since he was like, I don't know, like 9, or I don't even remember when. This was way before I even started playing. But yeah, if he gets on, like, I'll tell him to hop up in here and you guys can talk to him. Shit was epic, man.
Yeah, bro,
Telling
I'd
you.
love to actually. And then you guys, when you guys get going again, because I think you'll hit thid at 44 to 49. You guys gotta fraps it. I mean, because now it's much easier. You got faster computers. You can upload on YouTube. Gotta fraps that shit.
Yeah. Only thing is, Dave's being a fucking Jew or Thurgist, and he hasn't even. He's like, no, man, I don't want to do it anymore. Like, that was then, like. And it's like, man, why you want to kill the fucking fun? But we can always pick up
Seriously, man,
another.
why be a buzzkill, bro?
I mean, just by hearing that, you can, like. It gives me goosebumps just remembering how fun it was.
You guys on
Oh,
American time?
yeah.
Well, the problem is that you won't. You might go to thid on American time. There might be like 6 enemies, man. That's it.
Oh, no, but that's what I was saying. We would play on off hours, we would play. I mean, Doug, he didn't work, so all he would do is sleep all day and be up all night. So it wasn't. I thought you meant
Oh,
like, are
then
we
you
in
might run into
America?
like, dude, there's like 2 or 3 like group Zergs out there, man. You might actually be able to take them out now.
That's what I'm saying. Like, this shit was awesome.
But you just got to talk your third buddy into playing me, because if without your third, then that probably won't happen, huh?
I think we could pick up a third. Wouldn't be a big deal.
Yeah, there's a shit ton of thirds now, anyways, on Alb. So I'm sure you could find one.
You got to find one that's good enough to kite like that, though.
Yeah, I mean, it was intense for us. Like, it was literally intense over Ventrilla. We'd be like, okay, like, you take blah 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 blah. Okay, time to go, go. Like, gotta go. Like, damn, get the adrenaline going. I mean, yeah, we wouldn't always win. I mean, there were probably like very seldom would we get away like completely unscathed, right? But just the fact that we were able, 3 people would roll up on a like Zerg that was completely going at it, take out as many people as we did, and then get away for as long as we did until we got ass jammed by another fucking 8-man or whatever that were out hunting us, specifically hunting us, like,
like bounty hunters almost, huh?
yeah, they would like find these fucking 3 and kill them, and we don't even care. And that it was kind of like the different realms were kind of allying, like had a little alliance because we were just killing them and just ruining their fucking day. You know what I mean? So, but either way, it was just still hilarious that 3 little fucking kobolds,
Hey, wake
and
up.
then 3 um what was it? We had the owl, the
Hey,
sword,
wake up.
but the little Kobe's were fun when we were running because they're just so small you can hardly see them.
So
Like, I was
you
just
were.
hiding.
So you played healer, right?
Yeah,
So who played third, though?
my buddy Dave
And
and
then
Doug.
and then
Doug.
you had a scald, right?
No, the skull death was my best friend, basically like my brother Doug, and he played the Sork, so he had that. He had the drop on the Mez, man. Like, he had played the game so fucking much it was his life. Like, so basically he was the Mez. Like, Dave was like, I don't even want to be a Sork. Like, I'll play third, but Doug, you got that fucking drop on the Mez, so that's all you. And he's like, all right, let's twink out these fucking characters and go have some fun.
And
And so
you guys were all kobolds.
we were kobolds, and then when we switched over to Alb, uh, yeah, like it was more fun when we were playing on Owl because the cleric just the cleric just had more enchant, you know, and heal proc. It was just too insane. And as soon because they couldn't find me, so like basically they'd all get mezzed. The pets would go out after the casters. I would start debuffing like all the tanks and everybody, and then we would start kiting because we would give it about 10 seconds before that mez wore off just to give us a little bit of distance. Like we had it down to a science, man. Like you can't just roll up and like not get away, you know, without really knowing what you're doing. That's why they had me play play the healer because I had never played the game before.
Yeah, and then the healer's not that important in that setup though. So
And yeah, I mean it's really not. It was more so like just for the buffs and the heals to keep us going while we're kiting.
that sounds wild, man. Like I said, once you guys do it again though, once you get going, you gotta get your third friend in. But you guys gotta download Fraps and Fraps it for us.
Hell
Try to
yeah,
do it
man.
on like a Saturday morning, or like Friday night, Saturday morning.
All right, so look, this Arcanium improved male Hubric is basically 2 plat, and that's for 99 quality.
I mean, it depends how much plat do you have.
Well, I had 9 plat, and then when I logged in to have Super basically helped transfer it, I realized that Doug had actually gone on and kind of made his own little template and had all his shit was resist for his Sork. So he took my plat, and then I only had one. I basically had like 450 gold. I had like to go through all his different accounts, and I had about 2.7 plat. So basically, had to spend 2 plat on the gear, on arms, legs, feet, hands, helm, and that left me with 720 gold, and I couldn't afford to buy chest.
Well, if you want some advice from me, is I wouldn't buy cheap shit right now. I mean, I would buy your 99 quality gear that you want, your crafted shit, because if you have to go back, I mean, once you realize you're gonna be go out and getting smashed on, and you're gonna be taking like half your life by one Zerker hit, then I would just go out and buy your normal 99 gear, because then in the end it's gonna be cheaper than going out and buying it all again. You're gonna waste more money
Yeah,
if you don't
exactly.
buy the
That's
good shit
why
now.
that's why I'm just buying the 99 gear, but I don't have the 2 plat to do it. And plus, when we first got on, um, I I forget who it is, but it's basically the one. From what I understood, there were 3 of the main developers, and 2 of them stopped fucking around with the server, but there was one guy left, and I have his PayPal account info, and you could send him. Um, I think for 10 plat, it was like $14 or whatever.
This is a
Uh,
GM.
yeah, and what he would do is he would give you an item and you would take it to a merchant, you would sell the item and it would give you plat. So that's how he kept it going because he was pocketing all this money on the side. And he would, why not?
There's like, was it maybe like Abydos or Blue or someone?
I don't know. I'd have to log into my. I honestly don't know. I just know his PayPal account info. I wasn't the one who went to his house and picked it up because you go meet him at his house, and he'll sit there and he'll wait until he gets the PayPal confirmation, and then he'll have one guy go and he'll say, okay, because we did it as like a group, like we bought like 100 plat, like there were like 7 of us, and we all invested, and we got like 15 plat each or something like that. I don't know. And so we just went in, and he gave one of my buddies the items, and then we divvied up the plat. But Doug, being a little fucking piece of shit he is, fucking took my 9 plat and fucking spent it on himself because he's a fucking he's got the DBG, which we like to call the dirtbag gene.
You get that from your mom's
at
side,
least
don't
you went and
He's like-
stole it back.
What's that?
You get that
At
from
least
your
you went and
mom's side.
stole it back, bro.
But hey, are you talking about, is this Uthgard or is this live?
No,
Talking
this
about-
is Uthgard.
Or smoke.
Yeah, because, man, when we were doing that with the trio, I wasn't paying for live. I was like, I'm not going to pay for a fucking game I'm never going to play. So they were paying for me to play the Thurgis because they had like 4 accounts or whatever. So for as long as we kept running that, they were paying for it. So as soon as I think Doug went to rehab or something, and then it was over, and we just stopped playing. And then everybody, I guess, in VOA went over and started playing WoW. But man, fuck that game, because the cool thing about DAO is how much you can exploit in this fucking game. It's just way more fun.
Yeah, but in Big Boy RVR, the positioning, it's all about your positioning now as a cleric. You know that, right?
Yeah, didn't you hear me talking about my positioning? Like it's all about my positioning. That's why, like, I
He
don't
was the
want to
one
be getting
hidden,
hit.
bro.
Oh no, I think I might have been AFK because I came in and you were like, I think this conversation was being.
Yeah,
I'm
I
not
was
talking about
hidden. I was literally a little kobold, or even like on my cleric, I was hiding in a tree behind other trees, so like you couldn't see like me casting anything. They could just see them getting healed. So they broke off from the Sork and the third, and it was all where the fuck is the cleric, and they were like, Johnny, fucking run. And so
What'd you play on Midgard?
It was a shaman.
Kobold Chamois, huh?
Or is it a cobalt? Either one. But I think it was actually shaman. Whichever one had the more enchantment, because we needed as much buffs as possible.
Oh, and enhancement.
Yeah, and enhancement. Sorry.
Yeah, that's cool. That's a chamois then.
Okay, so yeah, this for 99, that's what I'm doing. I've already got all the other equipment. I just don't have 2 plat. I've got 719 gold. So until then, I'm gonna be rocking my studded leather.
Yeah, but like
Which
you
ain't
said, I
that
mean, if your
bad.
positioning is good though, then you won't be getting smashed on too much.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Like, it's all about positioning for a cleric. Like, that's what the one thing I learned, because they were getting pissed, like, because when we first started getting the trio going, I didn't know fucking shit about positioning, or like where I should be and shouldn't be, and I didn't know about the different types of classes or anything. Like, it was all brand new to me, so it was like a crash course into DAOC that I had to pick up in 2 weeks after we got, or like, we spent like 7 days getting to level 22, or not even 7 days, and then we went straight to the BGs, and like I was fucking up and getting yelled at because I didn't know what the fuck to do. I'm fucking never played MMO before. But then after a while, I started understanding positioning, and then I started getting really good at it, and that's when we were able to roll up on the Zergs and start fucking shit up. Like right now, this vest I'm using, it's got, like, I don't even need the strength, but it's got, I need a different chest plate because it's only got 15 dex, 36 hit points, 15 quickness, and 15 strength. Like, it's not something that I need. I need like something close to 30 dex, fucking 18 to like 30 piety, and con. And then be set, be straight.
So have you and your bro hit up Wilton or no?
No, man, he and his girlfriend had like this huge falling out, so he had to like go buy a new house, and he hasn't had internet. So I don't even know. He hit me up like a week ago, and I haven't heard from him since, and he hasn't been playing. So that's why I logged into his account today, and he still wasn't level 50. He was like 1148, and I
Well,
just jacked all of his shit.
well, hopefully he doesn't get 50, because then you guys can hit Thid up and find that third.
But that's what's so weird about Uthgard is the fact that they switched it all up, and it won't be the same. It won't be the same as like what it was when Thid was like the first BG. You know what I mean? Like when everybody was lower and you could actually pull something over like that on them. Like it'll be a lot harder to bust the trio on that. You know,
Trust
it's
me,
just, I mean,
it's almost perfect for you guys actually, because Thid's like one big giant Zerg fest now, and it's full of fucking noobs.
yeah,
So
that's why, and it was still full of fucking noobs. Well, there were a lot of noobs, but back in the day, like 10 years ago, like everybody was playing this because WoW hadn't even came out yet. Like, I mean, WoW came out because of this game, and that's what I've been trying to tell like my other homies, like, because we have our own TeamSpeak, we got our own Ventrilo server and stuff, and like they play all different kinds of games. But I try and pull them in here, but they're so used to playing WoW, and they come in here and they see the graphics on this game, and they're like, man, the graphics are fucking not something like I want to be looking at. And I'm like, see, you guys don't get it. Like, it's not about the fucking graphics, because when they release Unchained, it's gonna be on, you know. And I wanted to get back in before Unchained comes out, so that, you know, I'm back on my fucking game with the
yeah, you get the
cleric.
rust off, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel you. Yeah, but you guys are gonna love Thid then, because the new Thid is Zergy and it's full of noobs.
Damn, my wizard's almost about to be done. It's okay, I still got Scald in there. What realm ranks your Rune Master?
405, I think. But I haven't played much. I was just on vacation for 2 weeks, like a week ago.
Nice.
I'm getting my Eld going now though.
How was it to be back in the States?
What's up?
How was it to be back in the States?
It was fun, man. Good to see my family. Went to the Outer Banks for a week and Chicago for a week. Went skydiving. That shit was pretty fun.
Yeah, how was that?
Pretty intense, man. It was pretty fun. We jumped at 14,000.
Pretty much the same as Airborne.
Yeah, except without you don't get the free fall when you go airborne.
Yeah, because the chute's already out when you get out of the plane.
Yeah. Yeah, there was it was like a minute long free fall.
It's still pretty crazy. How much was it?
It was like $215 a person.
It's actually pretty cheap.
Yeah, it wasn't terrible, but she gave me a discount too though, because I was a veteran.
And Ina did it.
Yeah, she did it too. But she got kind of sick though, cause like her dude was like spinning her all over the place, you know. And in like on the parachute when you're coming down, you spin a lot and everything. And she got to the ground. She's like, "Oh, thank God I'm on the ground." She almost threw up because she was so dizzy. So that kind of ruined it for her, but I had fun. Hey, Monkey. So what guild are you in over here now?
Well, we were in Kush over on Hib, and then now I'm in Divine Lords.
On Elb?
Mm-hmm.
Do you like them or what?
Yeah, they're all right. I wish it would have been. I would have known and joined them earlier because they were basically this guild would craft up until 25 for free. They would like set you up good. And I don't like everybody on here. There's a few people on here I just think are fucking tool sheds. But a few of the other guys are, yeah, they're pretty chill, you know, like they've got a vault full of like good items and shit that, you know, you can go help yourself if you need. So for the time being, it works.
So are you? I mean, like, but I don't. I know you're kind of new back to Uthgard, right? You said that you're pretty new.
Oh yeah, like I've only been playing for a month.
So like, what
If
what kind of guild are you looking for? You looking for like an 8-man guild or like just a chill PVE kind of guild or like?
no, honestly, like we had our own guild, Kush, and then they came over here, and Doug was like, "Yeah, let's make it extends," and I'm like, "Dude, no, I'm not gonna be part of your fucking gay ass fucking name guild. Extends like a what? It looks like that fucking pill. Like,
Does Doug use
yeah,
it?
not anymore. Like, I mean, he does. He will once he gets his shit straight. I don't know what he's been doing, but
What, with his
uh,
girlfriend?
well, no, they broke up and they were living together, and I don't know. And then I got
Hey,
my own
wake up.
fucking shit going on with my fucking Russian bitch, and fucking basically had to tell that bitch I was fucking dead. 'Cause
Shoot,
Russian.
wait. I gotta hear this. Tell me about this.
Ah man, like
Wait, you
this
said she's
chick.
Russian?
Yeah,
Hey,
like
wake up.
straight up.
Oh, she's probably crazy then. Watch out,
Dude,
dude.
tell me what
Oh
happened.
no, yeah. Oh, she is. Don't. It's bad. It's crazy bad.
Nah, dude. I mean,
And
you're playing with a guy, with a bunch of nerds on Dark Age of Camelot, so I don't think you gotta worry about us.
nah, it's just my roommates like I basically sent her a fucking text message saying because she was acting all fucking crazy and she was like shooting up heroin and shit. And I was like, all right, well, fine, fuck you. Like, if like you're gonna okay, let me back up. When
Yeah. How
I
long have
had
you
to
been dating this girl
move,
for?
huh?
How long were you
Like
dating this girl for?
on and off for about 4 years. But then when I had to move out of California back to Arizona, we stopped, and I had to go to rehab because this fucking this fucking jackass that I knew like ended up like I had everything set up. I was going to school at SMC in Santa Monica, had my own apartment, didn't have to work, and this motherfucker got jealous that I could just get fucked up as much as I wanted, had my cannabis club card, was getting, not working, was getting about 3,500 a month just cause I could, like from stocks and like family helping me out and stuff for school, and he got jealous to the point where he ended up calling my mom in Arizona saying that like I was like getting all fucked up, which I was, but
Like, what were you doing though?
I mean I was popping like Zanny bars and fucking drinking and fucking smoking.
Were you
No,
slamming some dope?
no, I didn't even get into that shit till
Oh, then you
that
weren't even getting
Russian.
fucked up, bro.
That's what I'm saying. Like, but back when I grew up in Arizona, I used to slang like lots of pills, like, and I basically had
Dude, that's
I used to
risky in
do
Arizona, man. One gram of
yeah.
marijuana in Arizona is a fucking felony. You'll end up in Tent
Well,
City.
not anymore because now they have clubs there in Arizona. But yeah, you're right. It used to be like that. And I never got a DUI in Arizona, although I should have gotten multiple DUIs in Arizona. And basically, I had this connection where I could get out like a week. I could get what I would do, I moved out of my house when I was about 16 and a half when my parents were going through a divorce. I was just like, peace out, you motherfuckers are crazy. And so I had this kid that I knew who was like, literally, he was like 14, but he had this connection. He had this wicked, crazy connection on volumes and Xanax. So he would front me like 1,000 Xanny bars and 1,000 Valium a fucking week, and I would go down to ASU and I'd sell them for $5 a pop.
Hey,
And
wake up.
he was only charging me about $3.15 a piece for a Xanny bar. And so I would go down there. I would sell about 700 to 800, and that left me with 200 on my own. Hold on one second. This guy's PMing me about this SC.
I gotta hear about this crazy Russian girlfriend though, man.
Yeah.
Oh man, if I talk about it, it's gonna piss off my roommate.
What, you getting pissed off just talking about it?
No, my roommates will get pissed off if I talk about it because I had them do something. I don't know. It's just been a fiasco. And she just like basically, I had just moved into this new place. Like she had gotten kicked out of her sober living, and just give me 1 second. Hold on, let me finish typing. Nah, so long story short, well, there is really no short story to this, but back in the day, when I went to rehab is when I first met this girl because I was living with this girl, Kate, at the time up in Santa Monica. And they were friends. And Kate was like doing heroin, like to the point where she was like shooting it up in her neck, and then like she got this like little puppy, and then she would like leave. She would just like drop her puppy on me and like go out of town for like a month on end, you know, and then like I don't know. I just ended up kicking her out of the house, and then had her brother because I knew her brother. He came in town, grabbed all her shit, and left. And one day, I had met this girl like once or twice before, but I'm like sitting there. It was summertime. I was like in my kitchen doing like washing some dishes or something, and like this like fucking hot blondie with like aviators came up to my door, and I was like, God damn, who is this? And opened the door, and it was this Russian chick, and she was like, Hey Johnny, is Kate there? And I'm like, nah, but if you want to come in and smoke a bowl, like, I'll explain it to you, like, you know, the whole situation. Ever since then, like, me and her started chilling, and, you know, things were really good. She had a boyfriend at the time, but me and her, like, she she fucking loved me. So like basically, we would we would chill. She'd have this boyfriend, but we would go down to Venice Beach and like literally stay there all night. And her phone would be blowing up constantly from her boyfriend, and she just wouldn't answer it. Which to me, I was like, damn, this girl is like kind of crazy, but whatever. She's hot. She's a model. She don't matter. She's fucking Russian. She's got the accent. Like it's all good. Like I'm down, And
Were you guys
so
fucking
then
around though, or was she being faithful to her boyfriend?
she was being faithful. That's what I at the time, and that's why I gave her mad respect. Because when we were at the beach one day, I was like, it was like I don't know, like 3 in the morning. We were getting fucked up, and I was like, so what's up? Like, you want to get down? She's like, well, Johnny, I would, but I got a boyfriend, so like I can't. And I was like, I'm glad you say that because I like gives me like a lot of respect for you. And but so we still ended up chilling, and we were going. It was the morning. I guess it was like 6:30 or so, and so we like were riding our bikes back to my apartment. Stopped and got some beers. We were riding up Lincoln, and all of a sudden, this fucking car just comes out of nowhere, pulls up onto the fucking curb. It's her fucking boyfriend, and he was Russian too, and So that was a whole fucking fiasco because they're just yelling at each other in Russian and shit. And then
And he didn't try to
we
like whoop
go,
your ass though or something?
why? What did I do?
If I roll up on my girlfriend, do it
But
all the time. I'm gonna
you
assume
ain't
something's up,
Russian.
Especially if she's hanging out with some other dude.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna assume something's up. So I
From
would assume
another
that he thought.
country. Especially from another country. I know, right? So this guy is kind of a puss. Let's just put it like that. Um, and so we went back to my apartment. He ended up getting there first because he was in the car and we rolled up on the bikes. We go up, we're like sitting there. He like grabbed her phone. They started like yelling at each other and fucking Russian, and then he like threw her fucking phone against the wall because basically what I gathered was like he was like, I can see you
Hey,
saw all my
wake up.
fucking calls and just didn't answer or whatever. And I was like, get the fuck out of the apartment, just fucking get the fuck out of here. Kicked his ass out, and then went and we picked up our homegirl Tony, and then we ended up fucking went to the club that night like rolling on ecstasy and shit, and so things were all good there. A few weeks later, this guy Jake Durkee, who I grew up with in Arizona, went to film school with and everything. He got jealous and behind my back didn't even bring it up to me. Called my mom in Arizona, and here I'm like 20, almost 23, right? So it's like, what the fuck? I get a call. My mom's like, hey, I just landed at LAX. I'm gonna be at your apartment in about 20 minutes. And I was like, holy shit, I gotta clean up all this fucking like mess and shit. So she comes up, like, doesn't tell me anything, and so she's in town. I was like, thanks for the surprise, whatever. Um, Turns out that later that night, like, she wanted to take me and some of my friends out to dinner. We go out to dinner, come back. Um, my homegirl, Tony, she and her other friend were there, and this guy, Brian, they wanted to go out to this club called um, what was it called? It was either called Das Bunker or it was some industrial club because Tony, she's got this crazy industrial fucking like vibe, and it's this industrial club, and we went there, and my mom was sleeping in like the other room, and I don't remember this, but I guess they had some ecstasy, and like we popped ecstasy that night, went to the club, and here it's an industrial club where you're supposed to wear like all black and shit, and I popped my fucking fly ass white suit on, and I rolled up in there, fucking rolling face and shit. And we get back to my house at like I don't know 4:35 in the morning. I wake up, or my mom wakes up. Tony is passed out on the floor, sleeping on a vacuum cleaner. Like she was like, imagine the vacuum cleaner, right? Well, her head was on like the base of the vacuum cleaner, like a pillow. And I woke up and like my mom's like, "What the fuck? Like you guys like partied last night?" And I was like, "Yeah." And then she's like, "Listen, I'm not." I'm like, "You." She's like, "You need to check yourself into rehab." And I'm like, "What are you talking about? Like I got school tomorrow. I ain't going to like rehab." Like she's like, "Yeah, well Jake called me and like yada yada yada." And that's why I came out here. And you told me that if, because this shit had happened before when I had my shoulder surgeries, because like I did a lot of mixed martial arts like when I was growing up, to the point where I had my shoulder would dislocate. So I had a lot of surgeries, had a lot of pain meds. And this kid I was living with, like these kids in Arizona would like call my mom and say I was fucking up, yet they weren't even in California knowing what the fuck I was doing. And I told her one time, and I was like, "Mom, like none of these kids even live with me. So if you ever get a call from Jake Durkee, then maybe you should start thinking that maybe something's up." A year and a half goes by. Sure enough, Jake Durkee's the one who fucking calls her. So she's like, "Well, what do you want me to know? Like, expect? You told me yourself, like, if this kid Jake ever called, then, something seriously was wrong." And I was like, "Man, that's not even cool." And she's like, "So I'm not leaving until you check yourself in the rehab." And I was like, "Well, I guess you're gonna be like getting used to living next to the
I
beach
guess you're
for a
gonna be
while."
here for a while then, Mom.
Yeah, and then I
Hey,
was on
brother. Hey, sorry to
ecstasy.
interrupt, guys, but I actually got to run right now. But I'll be back later on, though.
Who's running?
Bryson, I got to go. So.
Are you gonna stay in TeamSpeak?
No, I mean, I can, but.
I mean, because you're recording this whole conversation, and I haven't even gotten to the Russian.
Oh, okay, well, I'll just. Okay, yeah, you guys. Okay, I gotta hear that, though. Okay, so I'm gonna leave this on, and you tell Vohan the whole story, alright?
Okay, yeah, Vohan. Vohan.
Alright, I'll be back later, though.
Peace.
If you knew who I was, you wouldn't like me, bro.
What? Why
Just
you
keep
say
going. Just
that?
keep going with your Russian story. I'll tell you who I am later.
Alright, so I go to rehab, and basically, I was not down for that. I got fucking crazy up in there. So they said, "You know what, John, we're gonna take you somewhere where they can give you a little bit better medicine to detox." Because like, I had been on a fucking, I don't know, 12-year run of fucking taking pills and drinking and shit, and like to get sober right away, like it just wasn't something I was down for. So they end up taking me over to this hospital. So I
Psych
called up.
ward.
Well, not yet, but almost there. I'm getting to that point. They
Man, this
take me
sounds
to
a
this
lot like my
place.
story, bro. Are you sure you
They
didn't
take.
copy mine?
You sure you didn't copy mine? How old are you?
25.
Some 27. You copy me, bro.
Sounds like
Anyways,
it's exactly the same.
so they take me to this place called Miracles, which is attached to this place called Brotman Hospital, and they were just giving me phenobarbital, and I wanted to be the doctor, and I wanted to detox my own way, right? Well, I started having DTs, and because I used to drink a lot, like I mean a lot, to the point where I didn't know like when I was asleep and I was awake, like I was having like some crazy dreams, and I scared the shit out of the the dude that was in the hospital room with me. So he had left, and by this time I was just raging, pissed. I wanted to go home. I wanted to see that girl. She came to visit me in the hospital, and then I was like, this is fucked up. I have to do this for fucking 90 days or whatever. And so by that point, I just said, fuck it. And I slammed the hospital door closed. I unplugged his bed from the wall and set off like some like security alarm. Took the brake off, rolled the bed into the door, put the brake on, and just started fucking throwing shit around this hospital room, fucking punching holes in the walls. Oh man, it was a goddamn mess. And so finally they were like, Jonathan, you better open this door like real quick, like. And I don't know why I opened the door and got my ass tackled by like 5 security guards. Then they take me into this room with this doctor. His name is Doctor. I'll never forget it. Dr. Trichter. But I will never call him that. To me, his name is Dr. Trickster because he was like, yo, we're going to just take you across the street where we can give you some better medication, and make this easier on you. Well, little did I know I was going to be the fucking psych ward. Alright, so here I'm in the fucking psych ward and I'm like shaking, like, I go up to the desk and I'm like, look, where's my fucking meds? Like, this isn't cool. I need to speak to my doctor. And she's like, oh, well, he's busy. He's not here at the moment. I'm like, he's sitting right there behind you. I see it. She's like, yeah, but you're not having that big of a problem right now, so don't even worry. And I'm like, oh, I'm not having a fucking problem? Me, this guy in front of you right here? And I just took my head and I slammed it down right in front of her on her desk. And I said, what about now? Think you got a problem? And I fucking did it again. And then out comes the doctor and he's like, hey, fire away, Jimmy, fire away. And I'm like, fuck yeah, fire away. And that was the juice. So they like laid me down in a bed, shot me up with fucking like Thorazine or whatever, knocked my ass out for 17 hours straight. So I wake up, 5 security guards like basically picked me up and threw me into the lockdown unit. And that was no fucking joke. There was a tranny in there. There was like this girl, but you could tell because she was wearing like pajama pants and you could see that she had like a little wiener. And I was like, what the fuck? Like, for real? Like, and there was like, it was just this hallway with like 6 rooms and then this other little room, this little smoking room. And then there was a window and behind that was like the med room. Well, I wanted my fucking meds and they weren't going to give it to me. And so I freaked out and I just fucking swung so hard at the wall. I punched a hole, like a watermelon sized hole, through the wall into the med room. And I was like, oh shit, now I'm in trouble. And then they fucking come walking out with chains and shit. And they're like, we're gonna fucking tie you down, man. You better either lay down and we're gonna fucking give you a shot of this, or we're gonna chain you up and you're gonna be strapped to this bed for like a while. Anyway, so it turns out that I was okay. I got
So which one did you pick?
5150. I picked the fucking juice. I didn't want they didn't want to chain me down. I just turned over and they put me out for 18 hours and I woke up because I had to take a piss and because I hadn't pissed in like 12 hours or whatever. And I was so groggy, I fell out of the bed, dislocated my shoulder again, got up, put my shoulder back in the socket, was looking at the door, and I could see 3 doors. So I was like, okay, I'm going to go for the one on the far right, because I think that one's probably the actual door. Walked straight into the fucking door frame. Then I just went, fuck it. And I turned into the bathroom, and I didn't even look for the toilet. I just pissed all over the floor. Next day, doctor comes in. He's like, okay, Jonathan, your 3 days is up. Like, we're going to take you back to Promises, but we have some good news and we have bad news. I'm like, okay, what's the good news? Good news is, well, or I was like, what's the bad news? He's like, good news is we're going to let you out of the lockdown unit and put you on the regular floor, but the bad news is you can't go home today because Promises gave your bed away. And I was like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, how much longer am I going to be here? And they're like, well, we don't know. Well, about 30 minutes later, I'm sitting there watching TV. Lindsay Lohan's going back to rehab. Turned out Promises gave my bed away. because they thought Lindsay was gonna come in there, and so I was stuck in that psych ward for 5 days. Ended up, Lindsay went to like Cottonwood or something in Arizona, Sierra, Tucson, and I went back over to Promises. Okay, so let's get to the Russian. She came by to visit me like while I was there. I got out, um, did my time, got out of there, was in a sober living, but I still had this apartment that I was growing a bunch of fucking weed in. So I
So
was in a
wait a
sober.
minute. You're in sober living, but you have an extra apartment that you're growing at?
Because it was the apartment that I originally owned, or I had been paying rent at, and the lease wasn't even up until like January or February, and this was like November ish. So I had flown back home to have Thanksgiving dinner with the family. She had came with me. Then I came back, and basically as soon as I got to LAX and I was out of like the view of my sober living, like I started fucking drinking, popped it like that Russian again. She went out and bought me like a bunch of different pills and shit to take back to Arizona with me. Went back there, um, and I when I was at the airport, I bought a bunch of drinks, and then I went over and I stayed at my dad's house because he's got this really big house with a guest house attached to it. So I'm staying in the guest house, and he's telling me how proud he is of me, blah blah blah. Drops me off at my mom's house, and she was gonna take me down to the airport. Well, turns out my dad's a fucking sneaking little fuck, and he went through the trash can, found a receipt that said I was at the Sky Bar. So here I'm not even supposed to be drinking, and he found out I was drinking at the fucking at the airport, which turned into a whole big other mess. Got back, went back to my sober living, but on the weekends, I would go to my apartment and play video games and stuff. If this was when like Modern Warfare 2 had came out, I had hacks for that game. Like shit was fun. And what would do is I would go and buy a bottle of champagne and pound that shit at my apartment. Chill there for the day and then go back to my sober living. Well, when I was in rehab, I met my boy Aaron. His name's AG. He's a DJ, a fucking sick DJ. And so me and him would always be blazing and shit. And um, one day we went down to Venice Beach, pick up some bud. We bumped into one of his friends. His friend like hooked me up with like a bunch of Carasoprado. He gave me like 4 or 5 Carasoprado. You know what those are?
What is
Or
it?
have you ever heard of Carasoprado?
No, what is it?
Or they're American somas. They're like the strong somas.
No, never
I
heard
know
of
what a
it.
soma is.
Yeah, okay. Well, somas, these things make you feel drunk, okay? And turns out we were walking back through the Venice canals, and there's all these houses that are there, and there was this party going on, and there was this guy handing me like a beer, and then like me and Aaron went in there, had a couple beers. So not only was I already fucked up on these pills, I had a couple beers. Here it's getting to be like 8:30. I had a 10 o'clock curfew at my sober living. Well, I wanted to go back to my house, but I forgot that I left my keys at my sober living. So I ran, we drove back to my sober living. I ran upstairs and I didn't turn the light on because I knew exactly where my keys were. They were on my bed. I grabbed my keys and I ran out of there. But I was so out of it, I didn't realize that this old man, one of the managers, Carl, had been like, "Yo, what are you doing in the dark looking for your keys?" And I'm like, "Light doesn't work. I gotta go." and I just ran out of there, went to my apartment, passed out, woke up at 9:45, got a ride back, made it back to the sober living by like 10 o'clock. Get pulled into the office, and they're like, "So, you got something to tell us?" And we're like, "No, I ain't got shit to tell you, man." Like, it's like you said, "Yeah, well, you came in here and you seemed like you smelled like you were drinking." And I was like, "Nah, man, I don't know what you're talking about." Like, straight up. And so then they made me sit there for 15 minutes, breathalyze me. And I guess at the time they weren't going to completely kick me out, but I said, fuck it. I was like, I'm over this. I got my own apartment right up the street. I don't want to deal with none of you. Like, so they packed up my shit and like took me back to my apartment. And when I got there, I was like, I felt like so guilty that like I had let myself down, let everybody down, or whatever. But the next day, I texted the Russian chick and I said, "Hey, I got kicked out of sober living," and she's like, "That's so chill. I'll be there in like 20 minutes. I got to stop by the cannabis club real quick." And she picked up this bud called Avatar, and the reason it was called Avatar was because it literally looked blue, purple, or yeah, like all crazy colors. Roll me a fat fucking joint, got me so fucking high and chill. Well, by this point, basically, I got cut off from my family, had no more income. Well, so I was gonna ride out my apartment until the lease was up. That's when things with me and the Russians started getting like good. But at this point, I guess I should back up a little bit. Before I went to rehab, like the Russian would come over all the time, and she would get drunk and crazy, like to the point where she went through my kitchen, like because she got mad and she started. She grabbed like a glass and she's like holding it like she was gonna drop it. And I'm like, what are you gonna do? What do you think you're gonna do? You're gonna drop that? Go for it. See if I give a fuck. Go for it. She fucking drops it. Shit shatters everywhere. I was like, oh, cool. Yeah. Why don't you do another one? Break everything in here. She starts breaking all this shit. Fucking next thing I know, cops show up to the house for a noise complaint. She's sitting on the couch, like, pretending like to fake cry, and she's like, he cheated on me. Luckily, Santa Monica police like didn't take me to jail for the domestic violence because they had already known like 3 weeks prior to that they had taken her ass to jail because she was causing a ruckus, and they told her to go home, and she got in a cab, went around the block, got out of the car, got out of the cab, and the cops were like right behind the cab driver the whole time. So they took her to fucking jail. Um, that bitch we'd be like throwing knives in the apartment and shit. I don't know, long story, man, but
So you invited her back.
yeah, man. I mean, we really liked each other and stuff, and then so it turned out I was gonna have to move back to Arizona for multiple reasons, and she I introduced her to this kid that was my roommate, Mike, who was like this 18, 19-year-old kid from from the Bay Area, and so she, started hanging out with him like after I had to move back to Arizona, and I guess she like had this crush on him that we always knew about, but it was whatever. I didn't give a fuck. Um, and it turned out that in January she was having this. She paid for me to fly out to LA and stay with her, and then we were gonna drive to Vegas for her birthday because she had rented out, or she had got a hotel room at the Venetian. So we're there partying, and I'm playing poker and shit, and um, she was all drunk, and she was like, "Yo, let's go get married," right? And I'm like, "What?" Like whatever, and she like had this limo like waiting downstairs and shit, and like on our way down to like get married for whatever reason, like I said yes in the first place, but in the limo. I was like, no, I don't think this is a good idea. Like, I didn't want this to happen like this, and so we didn't end up doing it. And then we were downtown. Um, we were in downtown Las Vegas, and this girl loved cocaine. And so she was talking to anybody she could to try and get a hold of some. And she found some guy that said he had some. And I had just won about like $700 from playing poker. And so here we are, like out on the street. It's like 8 in the morning. And next thing I know, like this guy is like handing me a cigarette box, and I look in there, and there was a bag, so I just took it, handed her the money, and we left. Went over to the Golden Nugget, and she's like, "Hey Johnny, let's go in the bathroom, do cocaine, and have sex." And as she was saying that to me, I had opened up the uh, the the box and realized there was a rubber glove in it and nothing else. He had jacked me like $70 or whatever. And so, like, not only did I look up and like have this look on my face, I was just like, we can't. He jacked us, right? So, all right, long story short, get back to the hotel after her running around like with the fucking chasing bums trying to get whatever. And get back to LA. So I stayed at her place for about, another week and a half, and then I went back to Arizona. Turns out, after I get back to Arizona, like she called me up and she was like, "Hey Johnny, I raped this kid." Or she's like, "I raped somebody," and I was like, "What do you mean you fucking raped somebody?" She's like, "I raped I don't know, like this guy." And I'm like, "What's his name?" And she's like, "Jim." And I was like, "Oh, yeah, right. Yeah, so you fucked Mike. I got it." She's like, "No, no, no." And apparently she had told Mike not to tell me too, but I'm way smarter than that dumb bitch. So I texted Mike and I was like, "Yeah, so how was it, man? Did you have fun? Was it good?" And he was like, "What are you talking about?" I'm like, "You don't have to play dumb with me, man. I know." And he's like, "I don't know what you're talking about, John." I'm like, "Dude, I know. She told me." And he's like, "Oh, yeah, man. Like, thanks for hooking it up or whatever, yada, yada." Anyway, so after that, like, she didn't understand that this kid, because she was like straight out of Moscow, she doesn't understand how American guys are. Like, that as soon as you give them pussy, like right away, then they don't give a fuck about you, like type shit. Well, most fucking 18-year-old fucking cocky ass motherfuckers. And so I called her up and I was like, "How fucking dare you get this kid that I went to rehab with who's 19 drunk, and then you fucking call me and tell me you raped him? Like, I don't even care you had sex with the guy. I'm pissed that you got this kid fucking drunk. You know he's a fucking, like, he's not supposed to be doing that. Like, you're fucking retarded." And so she got all upset or whatever, and I didn't really talk to her a whole lot. She ended up, like, Mike didn't give a fuck about her. He joined the Navy and was out in San Antonio. So her visa had expired. She went and paid for a Greyhound ticket. And right before that, she was doing a bunch of drugs and she shaved her head. So this beautiful girl, like that looked like a model, probably didn't weigh over 102 pounds. Like she looked like Angelina Jolie. Like that's what she looks like. Shit, man. She was on the Greyhound. Was in Texas in El Paso. Border Patrol came on and fucking threw her ass in the ICE detention center camp because her visa was expired and she was basically illegal. So she was locked up there. Then she
So
got
she got
tasered
locked
and
up with all the
everything.
Mexicans in Texas?
Yeah, 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 yeah. And the funniest thing about it was she started going crazy there. So they sent her over to for like the United Behavioral Hospital in the psych ward where they kept her for 7.5 months, you know. And by that time, I had been doing my own thing. I ended up getting super depressed over some other shit, and I basically, I'm deadly allergic to peanuts, right? So I was like, fuck it, like, fuck my family, they think, like, all this shit, like, my job just, I was just super depressed, so I went and I ate a whole bunch of peanuts because I wanted to commit suicide. And, next thing I know, I get fucking, like, I wake up like 2.5 days later after being in a coma, medical induced coma, and then they send me to this. Basically, it was like a psych ward that was attached to a courthouse where I was basically going to have to plead. Because what happened was my mom went to the cops, the police station, filed a report that I was going to kill myself again. So what happens was two cops come to my door after I'm drunk as fuck. I wake up, my uncle's sitting downstairs. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing here, Randy? He's like, oh, I'm just sitting here waiting until your mom gets back. Keep an eye on you, make sure you don't kill yourself. And I'm like, you know what? I don't understand what the fucking problem is. Like, like, why are you guys getting all crazy on me? Like, Scott, my cousin, like his nephew, ended up committing suicide by blowing his head off with a shotgun. So maybe he had around the same age that I was, And he's like, that was different and that was an accident. And I'm like, oh yeah, it was a real accident blowing your fucking head off with a shotgun, right? No.
Yeah, you can't
Anyway.
accidentally do that.
Well, yeah, I mean, like, unless he was, like, flailing it around and, like, playing with it, like he was gonna put it up to his head and then it went off, like, you know what I mean? Like, it just doesn't sound, my family wanted to accept the fact that it was an accident, but with me, it wasn't an accident. So, these two cops come into my house, and I'm like, Mom, why the fuck are the pigs here? And they're like, excuse me? I'm like, get out of my house. They're like, sorry, we have a warrant. I said, a warrant for what? That you're going to do bodily harm and we're supposed to take you in and have you observed. So then they start like walking up the stairs and I'm like, fuck it. And I went into my room and I lived in this 2-story condo, and my room had two doors. It had the main door, and then it had a bathroom door, but that bathroom door had a door that would go out to like the main hallway. So I went in there, pounded as the cops were coming up the stairs, pounded the rest of the whiskey, fucking went into my room, locked the door. The cops, by the time the cops busted in the door, I had gone through my other door and I was gonna make a run for it. Well, one of the other cops fucking saw me, grabbed me by like my arm, and then we were starting to wrestle, and I pushed one of the cops down the stairs. He came up, they fucking ended up tackling me. I'm like in this fucking fight with them. They hogtied me, took me into this, um, took me into a, down to something in downtown Phoenix where they take all the crazy people. And the whole time in the car ride, I was like, fuck you, you stinky ass fucking pigs. Got nothing better to do. What the fuck was I doing? Yeah, getting drunk in my own fucking apartment. I ain't driving around doing shit. Like, fuck you. Long story short, I get sent over to that place where it's attached to a courthouse where I basically had to testify against my family in front of a judge on my behavior. Well, I ended up having an attorney. I had to write a letter saying I would go to rehab. And meanwhile, I had just found out that Masha, the Russian, had been locked up in this psych ward because of the little shenanigans she pulled. Well, I had to come out here the day I got released and go to this rehab out here. Well, went to the rehab, got out. Shortly after that, Masha, the Russian, had came back out. Long story short, that's kind of when like her and I started like hooking up and shit. and again, and then she started going crazy by doing heroin. I moved into this new place a couple months ago, and that's what I'm saying. Like my roommates don't really like hearing about this because basically she went crazy, and I was all drunk talking shit to her because she deserved it, and she took a fucking cup full of like Downy and poured it all over my face, and it was all up in my eyes and shit. And I don't know. Long story short, she just went crazy to the point where like I had my roommate. Basically, I had texted her and said and sent her a picture of me like shooting up because she played a fucked up game one day, and basically I was like, you're just using me for fucking drugs or whatever. The only reason you're not picking up right now is because like you found some fucking drugs up there or whatever. All right, cool. So I said like I was gonna fucking kill myself again, and so my roommate called and talked to this guy and said like, yo, we don't know where Johnny is. He could be possibly dead. I found him like basically hunched over, blue on the table, and they won't tell me where he is. Like yada yada. Well, so anyway, like a couple like weeks before that, like she had also been a huge fucking bitch, but she wanted to make it up to me because like me and her best friend Tony had been fucking a lot. And so Masha wanted to one up Tony by fucking me. So she basically did like I had like the best sex I'd ever had with her. Like literally it was crazy fucking awesome, and then it went nuts to the point where I basically had to say like I killed myself. And that went on for a few days, and about a week ago, um, I got a call that she was going to commit suicide because she felt guilty because how she had been treating me. So I had like planned on like just leaving some flowers by her door or whatever, but she ended up calling and wanting me to come by. But she asked me if I could like bring over some heroin for her. And I was like, man, here we go again. Like, I just need closure, and I get there, and she starts crying and shit. And then as soon as she shoots up that dope, like, it was on again. She wanted to fuck, like, so we did that, but, like, I don't know. Basically, like, she wanted to go down to the beach, but I didn't want to leave right yet. And I'm like, what did you do? Just like, so what? You really don't care? You just like use me for drugs? And she went fucking out of her mind, hysterical, like screaming at the fucking top of her lungs, like so upset to the point where I was like, yo, I'm fucking out of here. Don't even fucking talk to me, like, and but the greatest part about it was like before she went to that psych ward, she was an actual model. She looked good, and then when she was in that place, she had gained like a ton of weight. Like she just wasn't looking as good as she used to, and and on top of that, she found out that I had been talking to her ex-girlfriend Kate, and that me and Kate kind of really like each other. So she wasn't happy the fact that me and Kate might be getting married kind of soon, and she thought I was a traitor and wanted to fucking like kill me and shit. So I haven't been talking to her since, but that's a little bit about that. Because if I talk anymore, I'm gonna fall asleep.
Story of epic proportions.
I know, right? Yeah, I'll be right
Dude, that's a pretty fucking crazy story, bro. I must say.
Yeah, I think he went AFK. He said if he talked anymore, he'd go to sleep.
Oh, okay.
User left your channel. User left your channel.
Hey man, so the story over?